Applying for a new job could be a crazy process. There's the application and then the interview and going back and forth, making sure your resume is updated. What about my social media? Are they gonna check my old tweets? But listen, before you do all of that, there are 3 things you absolutely have to do before applying to a job. Stay tuned, we're gonna talk about that in today's video. What's up, job seekers? This is Tony R. Sanders, and you are watching The Happy Meter. This channel is all about helping job seekers find and do the work that they love. In this video, we're gonna be talking about the 3 R's. Yes, these are 3 things you absolutely have to do before you apply for a job. Before you hit that submit button on that application, you have to do these things. And the reason why you should do them is because the job market is really competitive, okay? That's number 1. You wanna make sure that you can stand out above the competition. And if you do the 3 R's correctly, you'll be able to stand out above the competition. The second reason why you wanna do this is you want to make sure, as much as you can, that this is gonna be a job that you're gonna love, that you're gonna actually enjoy this one. One of my favorite people to watch on social media is Gary Vee. And Gary Vee always says that hiring is guessing, but firing is knowing. And I think the reverse is true if you're an employee. When you submit that application, you're guessing, right? But once you get there, you know. Once you accept that offer, you start to work there, you get through the 90-day period, the honeymoon phase is over, you pretty much know where you are. What I want you to do is get as much data, gather as much information before you start somewhere so you could at least make an educated guess. So we're gonna go over the 3 R's. Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay, let's go. Number 1, the first R is research. I want you to do the most research you can about this company. Learn about the founder, learn about where the company came from, learn about where the company is right now. Where's the company going? I would even challenge you to set up Google Alerts for the company that you want to apply for. Think about that for a second. Every morning you'll get an email from Google Alerts. It's gonna scrape the internet and pull in all the data, all the information, the news stories, the different blogs that are popping up about the company that you wanna work for. Again, you wanna arm yourself with information so you can see if this is the type of place that's gonna work for you. It'll also give you great talking points when you talk to someone from that organization as you go through the interview process. So do your research, get as much information as possible. Maybe they were just in the news. Maybe the CEO just left, or maybe they just announced a new product or a new launch coming up. All these things will give you more data for you to make a more informed decision. Okay, the second R in the 3 R method, I want you to establish relationships. Write that down. The second R is relationships. Look at your network. Look at the friends that you have. Look at the friends of your friends. Maybe you know someone who knows someone who works there, or you know someone who used to work there that could put you in relationship with someone who works there. When you think about leaving a job, right? We're gonna kind of do this backwards. When you think about leaving a job, one of the things that weighs into your decision is the relationships. All the relationships that you've established since you've been there. And quite frankly, that's sometimes what makes it hard for people to leave a bad job. In fact, we just did a video on the things that you should consider before switching jobs, and relationships is one of the most important parts. So why not establish relationships going in? It'll do a couple things for you. Number 1, when you start a new job, you have to build new relationships. If you started before the hiring process and you get the job, you've already established some relationships, right? Number 2, it gives you someone on the inside that could potentially vouch for your character and who you are, right? I met with this person, we've had coffee, I've talked to them, I reviewed their resume myself, or hey, they worked with my buddy and my buddy gave them a great review. You wanna have that inside person that could speak to the hiring manager, that could speak to the recruiter on your behalf, or if they're asked to say, hey, I can vouch for that person. It's also gonna help you through the process to get feedback, to make sure that you can stay connected with the company as you go through your interview process. They can give you an inside look at what it's like to work there. They can give you an inside look at what the interview process is typically like. Now, this person doesn't have to work in the department that you want to work for, but it would help. It would be great if they reported to the manager that you would report to. It would be great that maybe this position, they hire a couple of different people in that position. If you could talk to one of them and get their experiences, it's gonna give you information, but it's definitely gonna give you an advantage to have relationships on the inside. Now, if you're liking this video so far, we're 2/3 of the way there. You don't wanna miss the third tip because it's gonna tie this whole thing together. But I would like for you to drop a comment and let me know, are you applying for a job soon? Let me know, because I want you to do the 3 R's before you apply to that job. So drop a comment, yes or no, are you applying to a job soon? Okay, last but certainly not least, the 3rd R and the 3R method, the 3 things that you should do before applying for a job: reverse engineer the job posting. I love good job postings. You know why? It's like getting all the answers to the test before you take the test. They're telling you in that job posting what you need to hear and what you need to present, not only on your resume, but during the interview process. Look at that job posting. Look at the key words that they're listing in there. Look at the certain competencies or behaviors they want to see, and then make sure you highlight that in your experiences. Make sure you highlight those things in your resume. Make sure you start to prepare your stories and examples that you can bring to the interview process to match up with what they're asking for in the job posting. This sounds so simple, but you'd be amazed at how many people don't do this. They go right past the job posting. They use the same resume that they've used to apply for the last 10 positions, even though they weren't necessarily in the same industry or serving the same market, or sometimes not even the same title. And then they wonder why people don't call them back, or they wonder why they didn't perform well in the interview. Well, a big part of that is you're not reverse engineering the job posting. They're literally giving you all the answers to the test. So make sure you reverse engineer the job interview. If you do those things, if you do your research, if you build relationships, if you reverse engineer the job posting, I guarantee you'll put yourself in a great position to get a job that you love. And at the end of the day, all I want is for you to work happy, and I don't think that's too much to ask. If you like this video, you love the next one. I'll see you next time. Peace.